Continue to read Micah chapter 2. Man's plans and God's. Woe to those who plan iniquity, to those who plot evil on their beds. At morning light they carry it out because it is in their power to do it. They covet fields and seize them, and houses and take them. They defraud a man of his home, a fellow man of his inheritance. Therefore, the Lord says, I am planning disaster against this people, from which you cannot save yourselves. You will no longer walk proudly, for it will be a time of calamity. In that day, men will ridicule you. They will taunt you with this mournful song. We are utterly ruined. My people's possession is divided up. He takes it from me. He assigns our fields to traders. Therefore, you will have no one in the assembly of the Lord to divide the land by lot. So this is a lot here. Reading it, it almost sounds like today, right? Bringing past to present, right? But listen to what he's saying. Listen to what Micah is telling the people. They covet fields and seize them, and houses, and take them. They defraud a man of his home, a fellow man of his inheritance. So during this time, remember, even when a person would sell their land because of whatever that they were needing to, if they were needing a loan, or if they were coming upon bad times in the year of Jubilee, they were to retain them, have that brought back to them, given them back to them. So yes, they utilized it, they sold it, but then in the year of Jubilee, that land would come back to them as their inheritance, because no one was to permanently have someone else's land. Part of that was all of the commands that the Lord had given the people. So during this time, though, they were not doing that. They were keeping the land. They were keeping slaves. They were not celebrating the Jubilee. They were not doing what the Lord had commanded because of, you guessed it, greed, gluttony, things that would better oneself instead of thinking about the whole, how when everyone on the team or everyone in the family succeeds, you automatically succeed. But instead, it's all about what that individual person was doing. So listen to what the Lord says about this. Therefore, the Lord says, I am planning disaster against this people, from which you cannot save yourselves. So sometimes what will happen is the Lord will allow for consequences to happen. Things that we have done, things that people have done, even during this time, because they were not giving things back in the Jubilee, they were mistreating each other. People were getting angry, right? People were getting fearful and angry and upset. And what does that cause? That causes pain and turmoil and angerness into, you guessed it, war. Other nations around them were ready. They were seeing this split. Everybody was split up. And so when you've heard the terms divide and conquer, the people were dividing themselves. Therefore, they were not together and together worshiping the Lord, who was the good shepherd, who was their defense, was seeing all these things. And because the people were demanding and wanted not to follow the commands, he allowed for consequences to happen. And he was prophesying that. He was telling them, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to not protect you from what is to come, the consequences. And we can look at that too, bringing past to present, how our decisions every day, we may think of them as small, particularly in our lives. We may think, oh, this reaction or this choice over here is small. It's not gonna amount to anything. But we don't see the big picture. So take every moment that you have and be in the Lord, be in the Spirit. Take it to the Lord Before we go on, what kind of thoughts or feelings come to your mind when we read of this? How does it make you feel and what does it make you think?